Hey everyone, today we are doing a double feature with the zombie death trooper from the Ahsoka series, as well as Ezra Bridger in his look from Peridia, the only look we really see him in live action in the show, since the previous release was just a hologram. These are numbers 17 and 18 in the Ahsoka line, and I guess I misspoke by calling this the zombie death trooper. It's just called the Night Trooper on the box in case you're trying to buy it online. So some nice sculpts here. Looks like both of these are all brand new. There might be some reuse happening on the Night Trooper, but I mean almost everything has at least some cracks or some ribbons on it, and so I don't think that any of those could have been reused other than maybe the hands and the inner thighs or the feet or something. And when this was first revealed, everyone thought that this figure looked a little bit overweight or a little bit thicker than we're used to seeing some troopers, and it may have just been the posing, and this midsection is a little bit thicker, but I don't really feel like this guy looks like that. And we are seeing an improvement to the articulation than the old Death Trooper figures, which is to be expected, and it would be nice to see a retool of the Death Trooper at some point, since the original Black Series one it doesn't really cut it. Let's take a closer look at the head sculpt here. It does look like two separate pieces glued together. Someone did request that I separate those, but I don't plan on buying another one of these figures, so I don't want to ruin this one. I doubt that the rest of the head is painted, but we were surprised by the duals and Vader. And I'm not seeing any butterfly joints here, but he can still get his arms kind of somewhat across his body, and there's enough elbow articulation to get a nice decent grip on the weapon there, so that's, the bare minimum, but nice to see, especially since the old Death Troopers, as well as a lot of other figures from that 2015 to 17 era, just had abysmal articulation at the elbows. Let's get him into kind of a little creepy pose here, just get him hunched over a bit, get those hands up, and I actually have a fun idea for the hands, which I'll show you later in the video. But I don't know, this is such a scene-specific character. I don't really feel much for it looking at it, but I guess it just does what it's supposed to do. Although I'm excited to do this little hand swap later on. But let's take a look at Ezra now before we do some comparisons. I've actually been looking forward to this particular figure for a while. I always liked this design for Ezra, and he just felt like the last of the main characters that we really needed from the Ahsoka series. And so it's nice to finally see him here with all this new sculpting, great articulation. And you guys will never guess what I found down here under the skirt. That's right, he has thigh swivel. I don't know if these are older legs. I didn't recognize them, but it's nice to see that thigh swivel included, especially when that point of articulation is hidden by the clothing, so there's really no excuse not to have it. Here's a nice peek at the lightsaber that is included with Ezra, and it does fit nicely into both his hands, with his elbows having a nice range of motion. It just feels good to pose this Jedi figure, which isn't always the case. Now, both of these figures are just called Night Trooper, so the one on the right comes in the 2-pack, so I guess that's why they were not needing to differentiate between the two in terms of the product name. And Yakface noticed that this figure has the same design on the ribbons as Ezra when he has the Night Trooper disguise on, and so this is what that head swap looks like. I was able to keep the same peg and just swap out the head. The only thing is that his hair is slightly different in the show. It's not very different, but it might be enough that some of you might want to just wait to see if this actually releases, but if you already have these figures, just want to give this a try, this is what that would look like. And let's go ahead and compare the original Ezra release to this updated one. Obviously, the one on the left is supposed to be a slightly younger version. It kind of doubles as a Rebels Season 4 Ezra, which I think is where most people have this displayed. So I think I got these hands from this Marvel Legends 2-pack. They've just been sitting in my fodder bin, but they even have the hand armor on the back. They just add so much personality, so much zombiness to this, and I just think this makes it so fun. I just want to kind of have this displayed like this on my shelf. Totally makes the figure, and I finally have a reason to use these giant hands. So forgive me if I'm forgetting anyone, but I feel like this kind of completes the Ahsoka shelf. There aren't any really big characters that I feel are missing here, and this definitely isn't all of the figures that have released. I'm just getting a little display together to show you guys how nice this Ezra fits in. That's my custom Sabine head by Fett Clone, and then my repainted Morgan Elsbeth by Frederick's Figures with a sword that I got on Etsy. And I've barely got Ahsoka the White squeezed in on the side here, but I think she'll be fine there for now. This makes me want to go back and watch the Ahsoka series, or maybe like that Kai Patterson edit, just the 2-hour movie version of it. It's crazy that it's already been long enough since the show came out that I already have some nostalgia for it somehow. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel. I have more reviews from this Black Series wave coming soon, such as Marin and SM33. I'm trying to hit 25k subscribers, so that would be appreciated if you could pitch into that. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.